This has always happened to me and made me question my mental problems. Ever since 2017, I've had strong anxiety problems. If I'm somewhere away from home or in a stressful situation, I have horrible panic attacks. The sort of kind when you want to vomit, have cold sweats, and feel like you're going insane. Anyway, I was kind of nervous at this camp because I knew I'd probably get a panic attack. It was the second night, and we were moving to the bush in two-person tents. We were all standing around the small fire as the instructors were telling us that if we moved rocks and disturbed nature or something, they'd kill us. So of course, I'm kinda not listening, so everyone's moving back in the main camp to get their stuff. I'm last to move. I was going back, and I feel a panic attack coming on. I brace myself because I know how that's gonna feel, except this time it was different. It was the same nausea and cold sweat, but it felt as though I was being followed. It was like a primal reaction, but I don't know how to explain it. As we're moving, I see something move. When I say I saw something move, it looked nothing like an animal or anything living per se. It was just a void, a blackness that moved. At first I thought it might be just me seeing things, because my vision is dark and pretty bad. I haven't had vision tested anyway, and this was more than just a vision issue. Because it moved, I can't explain it, but it's like it rolled in the trees, and I know it was something because the ferns passed when it rustled. The trees also swayed a bit, but the main thing I noticed was the cold. Now I'm sure you know that Australia is hot, because it was the only winter where 25 degrees Celsius struck. But this thing turned the air like something huge. It was now that I realized I was standing still, and this thing was approaching. When I realized this, I just ran straight back to the group. After that, the panic attack faded, like usual, but the event stuck in my mind. When we went back to the campsite, I didn't see the thing again, thankfully. To this day, I can only see it as a lucid dream or a hallucination from the panic attack. I don't even believe in spirits or demons, but I'm convinced this, as an answer, makes me question my belief. That morning when we woke up, we stood around the burnt fire, and when I looked back among the things, all the plants that had been present were dead. The ferns that passed through in the trees were all dead and decaying. I don't understand how this happened so quickly, or why they were dead. I know that these plants weren't like that before. We even got told by the instructor for sleeping under the dead tree this morning, because it's dangerous. But when we put the tent up under the tree that night, it was alive. If anyone has any explanations, please let me know, because I can't explain it. When I was 8 years old, my best friend, Stan, and I would go and take a road trip with his parents out to their 130-acre ranch in the small town of Cody, Wyoming, where they raise few horses. The town stable fenced in an area where horses could roam. A couple of other buildings only took up about a fifth of the entire plot of land they owned. Stan and my favorite thing to do when we spent a week out there was to set both of our tents up in the middle of the field, far enough away that you couldn't see any of the buildings. We could still stock up on water, soda, candy, hot dogs, s'mores, and everything else you'd need for the perfect kids' survival week. We set up our tents about 20 yards away and built the fire in the middle of our tents as it started to get dark. Survival one day was coming to an end. We tried to avoid using any electronics or technology of any kind to make sure it was survival week. Instead of walkie-talkies, we decided to try the technology of old tin cans, a piece of string for a communication device. We had 2 empty aluminum cans with one held tomato paste, about 80 feet of string. I used the nail to punch a tiny hole in the bottom of each can so I could feed the string through the bottom of the knot and feed it from the other side to avoid it from pulling through. By this time, it was pitch black outside except for the dwindling fire. We each took a can and carried it with us onto our tents, zipping up the tent next door to us, while leaving a small opening at the bottom for the string to pass through. We tested it by making a typical 8-year-old joke and then said goodnight. Our tin can communication device worked better than we expected. Exhausted from setting everything up and feeling as confident as we could possibly be, we felt asleep. almost instantly. "Your fire is bright," softly spoke another voice. This sudden break in silence woke me halfway up, and I could only respond with, "What was that, Stan?" "Your fire is bright." Now wide-eyed and awake, sitting bolt upright, I realized this wasn't Stan speaking in the other can. The soft voice spoke as if it was genderless. It was neither a man's voice nor a woman's. In a panicked yet stern tone, I asked, "Where's Stan?" "I sent him home. It's just you and me now." "Why are you in this tent? Who are you?" I questioned in a shaky voice. In an almost unamused tone, the unknown voice replied with the simple, "Who said I'm in his tent?" Completely frozen in fear, I heard the sound of footsteps outside my tent. Every rational and sensible bone in my body tried to warn me not to look, but I couldn't help it. I slowly turned my head to the right side of the tent, and my eyes soon followed. Pressed deep into the canvas of my tent was an outline of a face. All I could make out were the eye sockets. I sat silently, holding my breath for what felt like hours. The unknown face was pressed firmly, staring straight forward, and didn't move an inch or blink, if it could blink, until I couldn't hold my breath any longer. As soon as I let in a tiny bit of air through my nose, the face jerked immediately in the direction looking directly at me and made an ungodly sound while violently clawing at the side of the tent. Adrenaline kicked into full throttle at this point. Unzipping the front to my tent, I bolted the 20 yards to Stan's tent, somehow managing to unzip his door, dive in, and rezip it in mere seconds. Stan, half scared to death, asked me what the heck was going on. By the time I was finished telling the story, my night's survival, pure terror, the sun had risen. We climbed out of Stan's tent to check our campsite. To my surprise, and Stan's lack of surprise, nothing was disturbed. That was until I spotted the string that had connected the two cans had been laid across the middle of the fire all night. Stan commented on how I was responding at all last night, so I finally gave me and went to sleep. As for me, I spoke to something, and the other end didn't connect to Stan's aluminum can. It connected it directly to something else. Something I hope to never come in contact with again. The day was Saturday 29th of July 2011. I was 19 years old, hormone-filled dude, living only with parties and drunk girls. That summer, me and my two best friends at the time, let's just call them Josh and Mike, decided to go camping for the first time ever in a place where we heard is only filled with college students. That's all we needed to hear. We packed our stuff, nothing major, 2 to 3 shirts each, a bathing suit, a few towels, 50 grams of weed, alcohol, and condoms, and lots of condoms. We began our journey a little after 11 o'clock, having 2 hours of road ahead of us. The CD player filled with Nirvana, Queens of the Stone Age, and Muse songs. We arrived at our destination 30 minutes earlier than we anticipated, being stupid morons running with our 190 km/h on the highway, drinking beer and smoking weed. When we got there, all we could hear was loud dance music and girls cheering and screaming happily. We checked in with the desk office and drove as close as we could to the beach, left all of our crap in the car, and went to the beach bar immediately. The day went by great. We started drinking, bathing in the sea, and making out with easy hot college girls. When the night came, though, things appeared to be less funny and happy. I got separated from my pals, being with the girl, and all trying to find some privacy close to some of the rocks. We started making out and doing the usual when all of a sudden we heard a weird sound, like someone or something chewing rocks. The girl got spooked and asked me to go back to civilization, but me being the macho and brave man said, "Don't worry." I said I'd be back soon, so then we can get back down to business again. When I climbed the rocks, I saw someone crouched over doing something. I couldn't understand because it was way too dark. That's when I made a huge mistake and lit a flashlight to see better. When I saw that me, still haunted, it was a greenish blue, I can't really describe it, reptile-looking thing, chewing bones, human bones. The light disturbed it and made it angry. He left the courts and made a beeline towards me. I panicked and started running back, losing my step, falling head first to the rocks. The impact made me dizzy, but I scratched it off quickly and started running again. A scream came to the girl, and all the power in my lungs kept on running myself. She started screaming for help and running at the same time, but lost her balance and fell down. I tried to pick her up, but the thing caught up to us and pulled her from the leg. I tried to hit it with a big rock, but I missed it, and it just kept on pulling. I tried hard to not hurt her, but because it was way too strong, that made me took her. I tried to follow them, but I ran into tremendous speed, making it impossible. They were gone in seconds, leaving me back petrified, unable to keep breathing right. I fell on my knees and started crying like a little baby. Eventually, I got up, feeling defeated, and made my way back to the camp to get some help and try to save her, if it wasn't too late. When I got back to find my friends, I told them all about what happened. Being drunk idiots they were, they didn't listen to me, so I went to the desk office to find someone sober to talk to. When I made up my mind, they found a sleepy old dude trying to stay awake. I tried to explain as best I could what happened, being scared shitless and trying not to shake uncontrollably. He didn't believe me at all. I can't really blame him. To him, I was drunk, stupid boy trying to play a prank on him. So I left once more and went back to try to get my friends to help me. When they actually listened to me, they didn't believe me. He came up anyway. We got some shovels, we found a storage place nearby, and went to save the girl. We got to the rocks and didn't see anything. I told them to follow me as I climbed to the rocks to the other side where I found the bones. All of a sudden, something jumped at us. And that was it. The last thing I ever saw before the blackness. Yo, 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 what is up, Spooks fam? I am so sorry for not uploading so often. Thank you guys all so much for the support. And this is my first video on this channel, so yeah, thank you guys all so much. And you can follow me on YouTube at this link address. Thank you guys all so much, and have a good day or night. Keep spooky.